Warning: the following contains explicit language and subject matter that may not be suitable for younger listeners, church folk, and people who enjoy kale smoothies.
Andy, don't let them bother you. It's okay not to have sex. Not everybody's a pussy magnet. You, what are you, 25?
I'm 40.
Holy shit, man, you got to get on that. Life isn't about sex. Life is about children. And the passion.
Yeah.
And the spirit.
Yeah, life's about passion.
It's not about fucking and balls and pussy. It's about love. It's about people. It's about connection.
It's all about connections.
But it's not about tossing salad. It's not about cock and ass and tits and butthole pleasures.
It's not about butthole pleasures at all.
It's not about the rusty trombone and the dirty Sanchez. It's not about the rainbow showers and the camel toe slide and the Cincinnati bow tie, the Arabian goggles or the hot car and pearl necklace or pussy juice cocktails and the jagged head dildos and the double-decker pussies.
Okay, double pussies and...
The shit-stained balls and cum swapping and the hanging brain. It's not about the rattlesnake wiggle and the alligator fuckhouse, donkey punch or the teabagging.
Moo, just please stop.
All right,
Relax.
that's enough. Party's over.
Well, I think it's a lot of people that are too afraid to go against the grain in that sense. You know, like you just said, there's a lot of people doing the wrong thing, and you don't want to go against that because then you don't fit in. You know, you're the outcast, but at the same time, if you know something's right or wrong, you know it. You know, like if you know something is wrong and everybody's doing it, does that mean that it's okay for you to do it? Or does that mean you have to suck it up and do the right thing, even at, whatever the cost may be? That I think is where a lot of guys kind of veer. It's that Captain America ideal,
Okay.
You want to, even if you have your convictions, you have your beliefs, and even if the whole world tells you you're wrong, it's your duty, if you believe that is the right thing to do, to plant your feet like a tree in the ground and stand there and say, no, you move,
But then you're looked at different. They see you as weird. You're different.
Yep.
Like I don't want to invite you to our get together. Like it's like you don't. You're an outcast, like you said. And
well, here's the thing, because I don't think that to really do that ideal, like this guy that you talked about, the Richard Gere guy, like, do you think that guy was not invited to events? Do you think he was looked at as weird?
Not really, no.
So there you go. So if you're chasing that ideal, then that really shouldn't put you in a position of awkwardness or of exile, so to speak.
Right.
If you're really chasing that, then you should notice if you're doing something right. If people want to be around you, you want to attract people instead of repel them.
True. So if I was to be that Richard Gere guy, people would see that. And
well, first off, you got to have a few more grays to reach the Richard Gere thing. Your hair is a very well colored. You have a very youthful look.
So
before we get into this, we're already rolling pretty good.
Okay.
Let me do a little intro here for our
let's do
listeners. So welcome back to A Pod Amongst Men. I'm your host, Steve B, a.k.a. Uroku Saki Bomb. We're here with another satellite episode from Miami, Florida. I'm here with my good friend Nick. Nick, say hello to the fine people out there.
What's up, guys?
So me and Nick, we're talking about some modern ideas of masculinity. And the reason that Nick is on the show today is because Nick exists in a very specific ecosystem down here in Miami. This is not like everywhere else. I know most of our listeners are from generally the Northeast, the U.S. There's some people from overseas. Sorry, guys, I can't speak on the situation out there. But, the dating scene nowadays is very different from, the way it's been historically. Most of us, if you're in your 30s, a lot of you guys are married, you're settled down. A lot of you guys are still single. So I don't have enough single guys on the show, and I want that aspect, and I think you'd be a good person to talk about this. So before we get into it, I'm going to get into a little background about you. Like, why don't you tell us where you're from, like how you grew up, that kind of, the basics.
All right. Born and raised in Miami from Cuban parents. They came when they were little kids, 6 and 7 years old. This is all I know. I've always lived in South Florida.
So I know growing up, for myself, for instance, like I grew up, I was okay. I wasn't the most in shape guy. I wasn't like I wasn't a big fat guy, but I was always kind of timid. growing up. Like, I'm not the tallest guy either.
Right.
So it's tough to find yourself in like adolescence.
It's hard because you grow up with a lot of insecurities.
Yes.
Right.
So, I mean, everybody does, but I think certain people are a bit more aware of those insecurities. Like for myself, like not being that tall, look around, there's a lot of tall women. It's like, oh, shit, well, they're right off the list.
Yeah. With me, I think I was very skinny and I went through puberty late. I think I went through puberty when I was 17 or 18, and that's late. So I was like 16 and I looked like a 12-year-old. So girls thought I was cute, and I was a little shy, so they would say I was cute and shy. I had few girls come up to me and show interest, but the ones that I really liked, the ones that were like to my liking, my taste, like they wouldn't look at me. They were there with the big dudes, with the jocks, with the, had hair on their face. And I'm like, man, I can't compare to that guy. So yeah, I did grow up with a lot of insecurities in that sense, but everything changed when I turned 18, 19, and I started to grow into my body, my man body, and I started going to the gym. That's when it really took off for me with women and dating. And yeah, like I started dating older girls, because even though I was growing into my man body, girls my age, I was out of high school, girls my age wanted the older guys. So it's like, okay, I can't go out with a 15-year-old because then, I could go to jail. I could get in trouble.
Yeah, that's no good.
Yeah. So the girls my age that were like 18, 19, and 20, like they wouldn't look at me because they were going for the guys in their late 20s, early 30s. So there were some girls, I remember I was 18 and I hooked up with a 21-year-old. I started dating a 21-year-old girl, a Cuban girl. And
Cuban in Miami, really? Go on.
Cuban girl, and we went out on a couple dates, and it was kind of awkward. She was like my first like real date. She was brought up in Cuba. She came here like when she was 18, I think. And I remember on our first date, like we liked each other, and we can tell like it was moving forward. And I'm like, and I said the stupidest thing, and I go and I pause, and I'm like, who makes the first move? You because you're older, or me because I'm the guy? And she taught me something very important. She goes, listen, doesn't matter how old you are, the man is always the man. Mm-hmm. You have to take charge, And yeah, from there I just took off. The man has to be the man. I have to take charge. I have to be confident, right? So yeah,
that's hard for a lot of guys. I know, especially like late bloomers, so to speak, guys who, like you said, don't come into your man body until later. You don't really discover yourself as a man and not a kid anymore until later on. And a lot of people deal with that social anxiety, that awkwardness. Like you're at a party, it's like, I don't really want to be here. I don't want to talk to these people.
I think this is the biggest advice I can give those people, and this is in life when it comes to anything. Know that you're special. Everybody's special. Know that you have something to offer, and it's not written on your forehead. People have to get to know you to see what lies beneath. And just know that you're special. Don't be cocky about it. Don't be arrogant. Just know that you're special. You don't have to be out there. You don't have to be loud. If somebody comes up to you, and they pick your brain and they get to know you for who you are, then they'll be like, I like this guy. There's something about him. He's special. He's real. He's not fake.
I think everybody has to find what that special is for themselves, because some people, I'm sure guys like this, like they think, oh, I get this. Look at this car. Look at this BMW right now. That's what's special about me. When that's not something about you. You know what I mean? Like that's not something about who you are as a person. That's a thing you own. It's like, oh well, I'm a badass basketball player. Okay, but that's something you can do. But is that really the only thing special about you as a person?
Right. Like
it doesn't have to be a thing it can be an ability, I guess, but you want it to be something that you can use to your advantage. If your goal is to pick up a girl, or if your goal is to pick up a guy, whatever, it's 2019, it's for everybody. But you want to use something that lends itself to that situation. You don't want to be trying to pick up a girl and all you know how to talk about is how fast your car goes. You know what I mean?
Right. Wow. All right, I'll give you an example. I've had badass cars. I've had brand new Corvettes. I've had BMWs, and I've had nice cars, brand new. And that's because I like cars. yeah, women, they feel good when they sit in your car and it's the Corvette and they're like, all right, it feels good, or a Beamer, that's like, yeah, they feel good. But now I drive a 2004 Toyota Tacoma, like a grandpa pickup truck, and I could care less what women think, right? So yeah, when I go out on dates, that's fine. I'll pick them up in my car, or we'll take Uber. And yeah, look, and you're just be honest from the beginning. Tell them, yeah, I'm driving this car because I want to save up for a house, or I want to save up for this. Like, those are more important things. That shows, like, you're truly a man. You're not a kid that drives a nice fancy car and, like, that's all you care about. And what about your future?
Yeah, it shows you're thinking on a higher level.
Right. So it's not about the cars. It does make the girl, feels comfortable and she feels good. But is that the right girl for you? You know what I mean?
Exactly. If that's the only thing that attracted her to you, then maybe this isn't for the long term. Yeah. So oh, no, go ahead.
No, so I've been through that stage where I've driven the nice cars, and I'm like, you know what? Like, I'm paying like $800 with insurance and car payment, like, for what? So the girls could feel good in my car? Screw that. Like, I'm in my car more than they are. Like, it's like, who cares? And I could care less what I drive. I could drive a Toyota Corolla. That's cool. Toyotas are great cars. Save money on gas. Insurance is not that expensive. Do yourself the favor, man. Like, you don't have to get fancy with the car. Just take care of yourself. Be a good human being. Be confident. Be humble. And you'll see, you're gonna attract women. I mean, I don't know.
It's hard. It's hard to. Like, you're right on all those things, but it's another thing to actually put it into practice. It's because, so for instance, down here, like let's get down to brass tacks here in Miami. This is a weird place if you're not from here, because everybody here is competing. In the dating scene, we're all competing with each other on such a higher level than pretty much everywhere else in the country, with the exception of maybe like a place like LA. It's just beautiful people everywhere. You look at, it's just billboards for plastic surgery. It's just fake ass and titties. Yeah. A bunch of swole guys and with perfectly manicured eyebrows. Yeah. They look like they're painted on. The levels are so high that it's almost to the point where, for some people, they overdo it to where it's like a little ridiculous.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So it's a very tough place to date. There's a lot higher competition. You have a lot of other options for everybody, so it's harder to take one thing seriously when you think, oh, well, there's 16 other girls out there that are just as attractive that might be better off for me.
It's our culture here to do your eyebrows, to go to the gym every day, to have your hair combed to the side and have a clean cut
with a nice line in it,
and with the little you're not gonna be a hippie living down here in Miami and fit in, it's kind of hard to find a girl. I'm sure they're out there, but they're out doing yoga out at the beach,
doing their sun salutations at 6 a.m.
So. Yeah, you have to fit in to a certain degree, but you have to be yourself. It's like anywhere you go, like, what's in? Okay, everybody's doing that. All right, that's cool. All my friends are doing that. Hey, let's come over here. Let's do it. But you still be yourself, Like, have your identity. And yeah, like, I go to the gym, there's guys that are jacked. Like, I go to the gym and I look like I work out, but you go in there and it's like, even for me, like, girls tell me, oh, you have a nice body, you look good. Even for me, I go there and I'm like, that guy's jacked, like, more than me. Like, it's gonna take me 2 years to get to that level, but it's not about that. It's about just buying into the culture a little bit, taking care of yourself, taking care of your body. It's like anything, like fashion. Like, buy the latest clothing. It doesn't have to be nothing fancy. Just go with the flow. You're not gonna wear bell bottoms now. No, right? Back in the day,
I wasn't planning on it.
Back in the day when we were in high school, in middle school, like, the high school kids were wearing bell bottoms. That was in. Remember that?
I remember, yeah, it was, they had a different word for it. They're flares. Flare jeans.
So you have to go with the trend a little bit, but still be yourself, right?
So, how old are you now?
36.
Okay, so you're 2 years older than me. Not much. I feel like now we're well into adulthood at this age.
Yeah.
It's a very different motivation for dating. It's a lot of people are more looking to settle down.
Right.
Generally speaking, at this age.
Right.
What do you think down here? Is that less common? in our age group.
Okay, this is what happens when girls hit their 30s, early 30s, and I'm not speaking for all women, but when
You're just speaking from your experience.
from my experience, when they hit their 30s, early 30s, and they get closer to the mid 30s, they start to panic. I spoke to this girl. I was talking to this girl a couple days ago, and she actually told me she's very pretty girl, smart girl. She's single, and she goes, and we talked about marriage and like, when do you think you'll get married? And she goes, look, by the time I hit 32, the next guy that comes into my life, he's it. I'm gonna make it work. He's it, and we're gonna have kids, and we're gonna get married, and so.
Recipe for disaster right there.
Yeah, recipe for disaster, but you know what? And that's what happens a lot down here, and they make it work. They might not be completely happy, they might not have their ultimate love like something out of a movie, but they make it work. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in pressure. I believe in waiting for the one that's for you. Maybe the one doesn't exist, but there could be somebody out there that's closest to the one. So down here, for women, early 30s, they try to find their one and to settle down with. Men, wow, for men don't panic that much. Men tend to wait a little bit longer, into their mid 30s to late 30s to settle down. Some of them get married in their early 30s, but yeah, so that's the culture down here. Obviously, if women want to settle down men are going to follow, and they're going to try to find somebody their age. So they're going to get all the guys that are like 32, 33 around their age and marry those guys, maybe a couple years older than them, 35, 36. So that's what I've seen from my experience.
Well, as far as like the guys, do you think guys down here are more aggressive when it comes to picking up chicks, like walking up, talking to a chick? Because I think if you go out to like South Beach, before I ever met my wife, I came down on like a vacation, and you just go out to clubs. I was, still in my 20s. I wasn't even 30 yet. And you see the way some guys, they come up and approach women, and it's very, very forward. They'll come up, literally like, not like squeeze their arm, but like hold them by like, around like the bicep area, they hold their arm. Hey, let me talk to you. What are you doing? And it's very, I know there's a lot of people that might be put off by that.
Right.
From a lot of women I've met down here, they've said, the guys down here are very forward, very aggressive. Like, what do you think about that?
I think it's been an issue that's been going on for years, not even now. Like, I remember being in high school playing basketball, and this pretty girl walked by, two girls walked by, and this guy was whistling at her like if she was a dog. Like, how the hell are you gonna hook up with this chick, like treating her like a dog? Like, I think men's approach in general, it's very antiquated, and they don't change. I think their strategy is the peacock strategy, right? The peacock with all the beautiful feathers, the BMW, the nice haircut and the nice clothing, and here I am, peacock, come to me, right? And that's, you're attracting women, and women, it's like, okay, he has it all, whatever, okay, I'll have a good time, he looks like a decent looking guy, whatever, he looks like he has money, I'll hook up with him. But she's hooking up with you for the wrong reasons.
Yes.
Right? So
you're right on the money right there.
So my approach, women are not dogs. Women are not animals. Women are gentle. They're like a flower. You gotta like water them, give them sunlight. You gotta treat them like a lady. Like, and so my approach is different. Like, I don't go out to clubs and bars like I used to when I was in my 20s. I'll go out on special occasions, but back when I was in my 20s, my approach was different. It was just friendlier, like joke around with her, say something funny, and break the ice right away. Nothing cocky, nothing arrogant, nothing pushy. Not being a machista, going up to them and getting up in their face. No, like the number one rule that I tell all my friends, the most important thing is to make her feel comfortable. If you make her feel comfortable, she'll give you the world.
Well, it's amazing how that simple bit of advice is so often overlooked, or not even overlooked, or maybe just misunderstood. Like, guys don't realize some little things that they do unconsciously can make a woman feel very uncomfortable. It could be very subtle things. It literally could just be like a body movement, anything like that.
Right.
And it's hard to be completely self-aware of every little thing you do. I mean, I don't really know anybody that's that good, but there's a lot of little things you could do that you may not even realize you're doing.
So what I learned at a young age, is to make them feel comfortable. That's something I learned on my own. I don't know who, nobody, I don't think anybody taught me that. It's you go out with a girl and you get a feel for her. I think I read, I love psychology. So you get a look at her body posture. If she crosses her arms or her legs, she's not open to you. You know what I mean? Just keep an eye on her. Seeing, if she's edgy, she's moving around, she's not comfortable. Like maybe you're too close to her. Like maybe sit further away from her in the couch. And talk about something that's not related to sex, something funny, because let's say you bring a girl to your house and something's expected, right? Like maybe she likes you and she wants to do something with you, but that doesn't mean like, all right, walk in, I'm gonna sit on you or next to you, I'm gonna take off your clothes, and man comes with club and hits her in the head and does his thing. No, it's not about that. Yeah, she's in your house, and yeah, you might have the green light, all the signs are there. Yes, you guys are gonna go all the way, but you still gotta make her feel comfortable.
Yeah, don't just throw caution to the wind and just lunge at a woman. You know what I mean? Like there's a like I've had women, like say like you're on a date with somebody, things go well, and you hook up, like, and afterwards they might say to you, it's like, oh well, did you expect this to happen? And the best thing that I've realized is you just say, I didn't expect it to happen. I hoped it would happen, but I didn't expect anything. And I think that's where a lot of guys might go wrong, is they expect, because I took this girl out to this restaurant and I spent all this money on dinner, like, I'm definitely getting laid tonight. It's like, well, you're kind of setting yourself up for a letdown now, because if it doesn't happen, now you're going to feel like, like she did you wrong. It's like, no, like nothing is in the bag until it happens.
I agree with you. When I go into dating a girl, I don't expect anything. Why? Because I know you got to get a feel for her, and at the moment, like, and it's minute by minute. It's not like a day by day. It's a minute by minute thing, second by second.
It could go wrong in an
like
instant.
that. Yeah, and then you're out. So I know not to expect anything, but be prepared. So yeah, that's my. It's you.
Well, one thing I want to touch on that you were mentioning is that, like, with women, you gotta, women are not men. Women are different. There's different things that they respond to, different things they like, dislike. But at the same time, you can't treat women like they're on like some pedestal. Like, you can't talk to them like they're a human being. Yeah. Like, women are human beings just like us. You could joke with them. If you can just talk to them the way you would talk to somebody who you're not trying to get sex out of,
right?
I think it can make conversations a lot easier.
Well,
when you take that equation,
you have to be careful, because then you might go into the friend zone.
Yeah, no, you're right. There's a balance. Like, you can appear interested, but you don't want to be pushy. You don't want to keep finding excuses to talk about sex, or like, who was your last boyfriend? How long did you guys go out with? Just talk to them like a person,
right?
Like you could be clear that you're interested. You could flirt, but
I'll go back to what you said. Okay. Putting them up on a pedestal, right? You can't treat her like one of the guys completely, because then you go into the friend zone, and you can't put her up on a pedestal, because then it's like it's easy. It's like they got you wrapped around their finger, so there's no suspense.
Even aside from that, like, if you put them up on the pedestal like that, they feel like they can't relate to you. It's like, is this guy even like a real person? Like, he's so uptight. Like, you know what I mean? They can't relax around you. And that's, like you said, making them feel comfortable. If they can't relax, they're never going to be comfortable.
Yeah.
Like, you want to joke, you could, make a little joke at your own expense. Make them feel like you're taking yourself down a peg. You don't take yourself so seriously. They can joke with you.
Right.
You want people to laugh and smile, have a good time. You don't want to be uptight. You don't want to be the guy who's, taking a girl on a date. He sees somebody walking by, might look at her, and like, oh, what are you looking at, bro? Like, really? Come on. You really going to do that? Because now you look like a dick.
Right.
She's going to feel like going out with you. There's going to be a fight.
There's going to be tension.
Yeah.
She's going to feel awkward. They want to feel, going back to feeling comfortable, they want to feel comfortable. They want to be with a cool guy, a funny guy. Laughter, makes everybody feel good and comfortable, right? So going back to that, you just got to make them feel comfortable.
Let me ask you this, because we kind of took off running here real quick. When you were coming up, did you have a lot of long-term girlfriends, or did you have a lot of like short-term relationships?
I had one long-term girlfriend.
Okay.
I remember I was 15 and she was 13, and we were boyfriend and girlfriend. We didn't do anything. It's like little kid stuff. So her mom was very strict. She didn't let her have any boyfriends, whatever. So we had a relationship over their phone. We saw each other once in a while at the mall when she would go out with her friends and I would go out with mine. And I had my heart shattered, right?
Oh yeah.
So I think, yeah. So she was 17. She hooked up with some dude from the basketball team, right? And then she hooked up with another dude from the basketball team, and I'm like, God, like she broke my heart, you know. And it's like, and I think I put up a wall after that.
Well, that's what a lot of people do, because I've been through a lot of that. Like, I never had long-term relationships coming up. I always had like short ones, like a month, 2 months, and then we both move on. Like when I was older, I had a couple, like around like 6 months, never even anything close to a year. But sometimes you just fall head over heels for somebody, and then all of a sudden you get the rug pulled out from under you, and it makes you feel like there's a part of you missing now. Like I'm not going through that again. I'm not going to put myself out there. There's a lot of guys who go through that, like those breakups. They leave you with that scarred feeling. It's like I don't want to deal with that again. So I'm just gonna say fuck it. I'm gonna go hook up and have fun, and that's it. I don't want anything serious.
So I'll take you through my phases, right?
Okay.
And when I was a young teenager, I fell in love with this girl, and we were together. We were boyfriend and girlfriend for like 4 years. She shattered my heart. Then, you know, I dated some girls. Then I got into like 2-year relationships. I got into like 3 or 4 2-year relationships.
Those are a good amount of time.
And it's enough time to see their true colors, because people initially, when you date them, they paint this pretty picture of themselves, right? They want to be the ideal woman for you, you know. And we do the same thing as guys, right? So, you know, after a year or 2 years, then they start to, you know, it's kind of hard to keep that front up. It's a lot of work to keep that front up for 2 years. So they let their guard down, and you see them for who they are, and you're like, yeah, do I really want to marry this girl? Because my motto was, if I have you as a girlfriend, there's a great potential that I could marry you one day until you prove me otherwise. You know, so at the 2-year mark, a year and a half, like you see things that like, okay, like she doesn't have to be perfect, but can you deal with this flaw? You know, can you deal with this thing about her? So I think, so that was throughout my 20s, 2-year relationships, two-year relationships. Now in my 30s, like I've had experience, you know, with the 2-year relationships. I've had experience dating, like, you know, like I know what to look for in a woman, and I could tell whether she's for me or not for me. You know, whether her personality complements mine, and whether we play well together, whether we have chemistry. The most important thing that I've learned is to be yourself right off the bat. Whether you make mistakes, whether, you know, it sounds bad, you know, like you have to be yourself. You have to show her your good and your bad. Like, and I want to see her good and her bad. And I want her to accept my good and my bad. And I don't want any surprises later on. Like, so that's what I do now. Like, and it goes great. Like it's.
Well, I think you're right about that. I think that's a good plan. I think it's hard for a lot of people, because it's that feeling of vulnerability. You're putting yourself out there, all your flaws, all your imperfections, and especially if it's somebody that you're really interested in, you're always afraid, oh, maybe she's no way she's going to go for this. This is going to scare her off. And that's why, you know, we hide those things.
My advice to people is, you're going to waste your time if you don't show who you are. So you're going to spend 2 years with this girl. Learn from me. Like, you're going to spend 2 years with this girl, you know, or 3 years or 5 years, you know, and you don't show any of your insecurities, and you don't show any of your flaws. And then it comes out when you get married, and she's like, I don't love you anymore. You're not the guy I married. And who are you? And it's not worth it. Just give it. Who cares? Who cares if she walks away? Like, all right, go, you know, then I'll wait for the next one that accepts me for who I am. And
I think that's good advice, man. Like, I mean, you're 100% right. Why do we waste 2 years to try to meet the real person when we could just be upfront, you know, because...
And I get fixated on the physical, too. There's some girls that are like, fudge, like, wow, you know, she looks like fucking Scarlett Johansson, you know, or a Natalie Portman. I like the undercover hot chicks, you know, the girls that not a lot of guys notices, that they don't look like porn stars, you know, they look like plain simple girls, but then when you really see them, they're like beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
They have incredible bodies, you know. So I do get fixated on the physical a lot, you know, but the physical comes and goes. The physical goes, you know, the personality is always going to be there. Her face is always going to be there. Her eyes are always going to be there, you know, like focus on that. Yeah, you got to be attracted to the girl. But don't get fixated. And I'm guilty of that. I'm like, wow, like she's beautiful. She's my type of girl. My type of girl is Liv Tyler.
Okay.
Pretty face, simple, pretty face, straight jet black hair, fair skin. Like, oh my God, like I love that. And she has her little body, like. And whenever I meet a girl like that, it's like I'm head over heels.
And you
like,
overlook everything else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then when she messes up, she does something like that's inappropriate, that's not called for. I'm like, all right. Like,
and all of a sudden, like the looks only count for so much now.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay, eventually the looks are going to be gone. I'm going to have to deal with this. It's like, do I deserve that? Should I deal with this for the rest of my life? Is it worth it? I'm like, nah.
Well, no, that's a very common thing because obviously you want to be physically attracted to whoever your partner is, but you don't want that to be the only thing. And that's where you hear all these guys, they have these like a trophy wife or something. Oh, I don't want to talk to her. I just want to look at her. It's like, well, then you fucked up, bro. Like that's stupid. Why even have anybody?
Yeah.
Why not just be alone?
Yeah.
Like why not just be alone and go out and like pay for a prostitute?
Yeah.
At that point, you're helping somebody get a job and you're not wasting someone's time. Yeah.
Going back to what you said something like their trophy wife. It's a physical thing, and I'll say something that I learned when I was 15. It's an embarrassing story, but it's all right. So I was 15. I went through puberty late. At that age, it's like guys are looking at porn, right?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have YouTube or the internet.
Back in our day, we had to go on the actual site and like print it out,
yeah. Right? Or go to the
don't leave it in the printer like I did,
or go to the porn stores and buy the DVDs.
Mm-hmm.
So I was 15. I had my own car at the time because I was working. And there was this dude that I knew. He's like, hey, there's a mom and pop porn place, over here down the street in a little shopping plaza. The guy seems cool, right? So I'm like, all right, here I am 15. I look like I'm 12, right? So I'm a skinny little kid. I was actually short when I was 15. I took off when I was like 17 and I grew taller. So I looked like a little boy walking into this porn shop. So I was like nervous, and there's this, I don't know, late 30s, heavy set Cuban guy with a heavy accent, and he's like, oh, how can I help you? And I'm like, oh, actually I walked in, I was looking around, and I'm like, where are the DVDs? I was like nervous. I'm like, oh my God, this guy's gonna tell me to leave. Where are the DVDs? And I'm looking and I see toys and I see a whole bunch of stuff, and I'm like, where are the DVDs? And the guy's like, oh, can I help you? And I'm like, yeah, where do you have the DVDs? Oh, in the back, go behind the curtain. And I'm like, all right. So I go back there and I'm like, oh my God, this guy's letting me buy the DVDs. I had like $100 in my pocket. I'm like, let me get like 10 DVDs, So I went and I'm like, I don't know when I'm going to have this opportunity again. So I went and I grabbed Asian girls, country girls, like all sorts of girls, everything, every flavor. And I go there with the 10 DVDs to the counter and I'm like nervous and I'm like, and he's ringing up the DVDs one by one. He's putting them in the black bag. I remember like it was yesterday. And he's looking at the pictures and he's like, and I'm like, I'm embarrassed. I'm like, oh crap, what is he going to think about me? And he saw that I was embarrassed. And he goes, wait, let me tell you something. He goes, I see women walking here. I see people walking here every day. And I see more women than men. And I will tell you something, advice, And he goes, it's all up here. And he points with his index fingers to his brain, to his mind. He said, it's all mental. It's all mental. By him telling me it's all mental and it's mostly women, that was like key. I put two and two together. It's like, you know what? It's not all physical. It has to be mental. You have to start mental. You have to, be attracted to her mentally. You have to work her up mentally. She has to work you up mentally. So it's not only physical, it's a mental thing too.
It's funny you told that story. There's somebody I work with was just telling a story kind of like that. Well, not a story, but he was saying something that his father told him. He said, listen, if a woman wants to give you some pussy, that's great. You got her for however long amount of time it takes. But the guy who has her mind is the one that matters to her. That's the one who has her. The sex is great. Sex is fun and everything like that. But it's all about how you can stimulate a girl's mind.
Correct.
And a lot of guys don't want to take the time. They don't give a fuck. There's a lot of guys who just resent the fact that they might have to work a little bit. Like, this is the way it is. This is... the same guys that want to say, like, oh, well, it's science, the man should be the dominant one. He should be the provider. Okay. But there's a whole ritual that goes along with that. So if you want to go down that road, then actually go down it.
Right.
We're not cavemen here. We're not just clubbing women over the head.
Right.
We're not pulling a Bill Cosby and, slipping a Mickey's in the back of a limo.
Right.
you actually have to talk. You gotta be able to say that shit. You know.
You just reminded me of something. I work with a lot of women. I work in a field that there's a lot of women, and we become friends, right? There's this one woman that I work with. She works to buy her $800 shoes and $2,000 purses and to do her hair. Her husband makes great money. He makes she told me $8,000 to $10,000 a month, right? She has her in a nice, $800,000 house. She has a new car, she drives a Lexus, brand new, or every 2 years she gets a new one. And she tells me about her experiences with other men.
Like she has like other lovers on the side.
Yes. And I asked her, and I'm like, why do you do it? Why do you do it? You have it all. The guy is like an ex-baseball player, decent looking dude, makes great money, takes care of himself, is a good dad. He seems like a good husband. Like, why do you do it? And she gave me the excuse like, oh, it wasn't fair when I was young, like he got me pregnant, so we had to tie the knot. I didn't have my fun. But then I continued to ask her questions about the guy that she's interested in, the guy on the side, and the guy knows how to work her up mentally. He knows how to give her what she wants mentally. So maybe her husband's giving her all the money, the treatment, but he doesn't work her up mentally. He doesn't keep her engaged mentally. Whether it's in an intimate point of view, like standpoint, or chemistry, like it's just routine. What he does, he doesn't switch it up. He doesn't keep her, like that guy at that porn shop told me, it's all mental. Work her up mentally. There's a reason why a woman goes in there and buys a different toy every month or every 2 months. She wants to switch it up. So I think that's key. Like, yeah, you might be a decent looking guy, have money, provide everything, be the breadwinner, but your girl might not be satisfied. You need to, it's work. You need to.
Well, it's more than just money. It's it's exactly what you're saying. You can have all the nice toys and most expensive bags and clothes, but it's not everything. Like, yeah, it'll make her happy in the moment, but clearly it wasn't enough. Because I've seen guys that don't even have a fraction of what this guy has, and their wives are the happiest women I've ever met.
Yep, I've seen it too, man.
So, I mean, look, I'm not a rich guy, but I like to think that me and my wife, we do things, we keep it fresh, we go out places, the two of us. We have a kid, we have, her parents live with us. You would think, if you look at it on paper, like, oh, she's probably miserable. Like, these two probably don't have time for each other. But that's not the way it is.
I'll go back to that girl that told me about, when I turned 32, the next guy that comes in, that's it, I'm going to marry him. I knew her, I've known her for like 5 years, and she's in school, she's in medical school. And she, very beautiful girl. She fell for this guy that was younger than her, was tatted out, like not to stereotype, there's nothing wrong with tattoos, but he looked like something out of Gangster's Paradise, man. Like, he looked like a thug. He had a kid, like everything that women don't look for. Like, this guy, like, had it all, and she fell for him. She fell for him hard. So yeah,
they love a bad boy.
Yeah. They do,
that
like
shit is real.
They do like a bad boy, yeah. So it's not about the physical thing. It's not all about the physical and material things. It's any girl could fall for any guy. He just knows how to, like that guy told me when I was 15. It's all in their head, man. It's all, you got to work them up mentally. It's all mental. Those guys got to them mentally more than the guy driving the Beamer with the nice haircut and the nice clothes that's, jacked up. Like, that guy wasn't jacked up. That guy looked like a regular. If you put long sleeves on him, he looked like a regular Joe. So it's more to just the physical. It's more to the apparent.
Well, we have all seen that forever. It's that old trope of like the ugly guy who can get the pretty girl. It's like, because he can talk, because he's confident in himself. So the looks aren't everything. If you can make a girl laugh, that counts a lot more. Well, listen, that's not everything either. But that's a big plus right there.
Because you make them laugh, you make them feel comfortable. They have fun. Their guard is down. They want to give you everything. They want to share everything with you. That's key. Comfort, mental, fun, laughter.
You got to put it all together. You got to put the pieces together.
Yeah.
It's like the Power Rangers. You can't make the you can't make the Megazord without can't have one leg missing.
Right.
It doesn't work.
You need the Pink Ranger, the White Ranger, the Yellow Ranger, the Red Ranger, everybody. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. In the past few years, we've seen like the Me Too movement has been a big thing. You know, a lot of women, they've come forward with, you know, stories of sexual assaults that they haven't reported. You know, a lot of times when men did gross shit to them or just basically acted like creeps. Do you think that that's changed how like the average person like you and me would date? Well, not me, obviously I'm not dating, I'm married, but how much do you think that's really affected the average person versus just something that we've seen in the media and in social media and Twitter? Because I feel like a lot of the stuff you hear about is just massively overblown. Like, Twitter is exploding today because so and so said this. It's like, well, in reality, 100 people send out nasty tweets. Like, that's not the same thing.
I think from a dating standpoint, nothing has changed. Mm-hmm. It's still the man's a man, the woman's a woman. Yeah, like even though I treat a woman like with respect, like a lady, I'm still caveman. I come with club, I hit her. Obviously not in a machista way, but so that hasn't changed in the dating scene. I've seen it change in the professional level, in the professional setting, in the workplace.
Hang on a second. The caveman thing, I think. Maybe I missed it. You're saying like it's still the man in the way the caveman you come in.
Yeah, because when you're intimate, like women like it when a man dominates, right?
Yeah, no,
like,
you want to be assertive in the bedroom, definitely.
Right.
Like you don't want to be a little meek. Like,
right?
Is it okay if I put my hand?
No,
bro, you're gonna get smacked. You're gonna be like, fuck this guy.
You never see the woman banging you hard and saying nasty things to you and hitting your butt. Does that happen? That hasn't happened to me.
I mean, I'm sure it happens. I haven't met that particular woman in my life, but
for the most part, women, when it comes to intimacy, they like the caveman. Mm-hmm. I don't care what they say. Yes, there's moments where you make love, but they like the caveman. Mm-hmm. Like the man is the man. They like to feel like like the man is taking advantage of them because they let us, right? Mm-hmm. They like to feel...
Yeah, it's like that thin layer, that thin facade. It's like we agree that there's no real danger here. We just want to pretend like there is.
Right. So that hasn't changed. And I stick to my beliefs. Treat like a woman like a lady. Respect her. Make her feel comfortable. If she doesn't feel comfortable, don't be pushy. Move on. Take her back home. Whatever. Like that's me. That's how I've been. But I've seen a huge change in the workplace setting. The other day, I said bye to two coworkers. One was a guy, and the other one was a woman. And I shook his hand, and it was firm. And I shook her hand, and it wasn't as firm. And she noticed, and she's like, "Why don't you shake my hand like you shook his?" And like she was all defensive. So I think that's how it's changed. They become defensive. And I'm like, look, don't take it the wrong way. I think women are gentle and they're beautiful and I take care of them and you got to give them love, and she kind of understood, but she was like, no, I want you to shake my hand like you shake a man's hand.
I think some women see it as like patronizing, and like I said, this is just two guys talking about this. So, take it how you will, but we're talking about how this kind of stuff affects the average person,
right?
Which is most of the listeners here.
So when I left, I was like, man, like if she only knew how much I respect women. Mm-hmm. Women are smarter than us. Women are more poised. They make better decisions than we do. Like men are egotistical and they have their egos. Like I've had women bosses and I love them better than male bosses. So like if she only knew how much I respect women, you know what I mean?
So what I've picked up in my own like meager research into this area is that a lot of well-intentioned men, like they do things, they try to do the right thing, they try to be a good man, and it's what we said. It's a lot of times guys don't realize when they're patronizing the women. Like I don't think shaking somebody's hand a little softer counts as that. I'm not referring to that, but there's guys out there, like you said, they can't just talk to a woman like she's a person. They feel like they have to. Oh, well, we can only be polite and, let's do this. And women notice that. Yeah. It's like, yo, why can't you just be a normal person? And then it makes that tension, that awkwardness.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times, I mean, dating in the workplace is tricky no matter what.
No, I don't agree with that. You spend more time at work than you do at home. So you do get attached to people, but you got to be smart about it. Yeah. If she's a girlfriend potential, then okay, go for it, right? Do it. But if it's just dating and you're not sure... If she's girlfriend
potential, just quit your job. Let her support you. It's fine.
Yeah. I wish.
Don't do that.
So I don't agree with dating because for the obvious reasons, you know, if it doesn't work out, there's tension, and you know, if she sees you talking to another girl, she's gonna treat you bad, and it's a big, yeah. Going back to the old saying, don't poop where you eat. Yeah.
Don't shit where you eat.
Yeah. So I've dated girls in my workplace, but they've become my girlfriends. I knew they had like I would analyze them and size them up and get to know them very well before I went out on a date with them. And yeah, we would go from dating to like boyfriend and girlfriend right away. That's fine. You know, it's okay. It's expected. You spend a lot of time at work, you know.
What's your end game? Like, are you looking to settle down and get married sometime? Or what do you?
Okay, I'll tell you. I get asked that all the time,
Okay.
right? Because you know I'm 36, and
Yeah, everybody wants to know. Everybody's a reporter.
So I'll tell you what I don't want.
Okay.
I don't want that guy that's going to be pressured to getting married because he's a certain age and have kids and be in a marriage where he's unhappy.
He did it just because he thought that was what he was supposed to do.
That's what the general population thinks you should do. I work with a whole bunch of old ladies. They're like, oh my God, when are you going to get married? Oh, it's time, this and that. Listen, when I get married, you're not going to put up with the BS like I have to put up with, you know, like you're not the one that's going to live with her. Like, what if I'm not in love with this girl? So that's what I do know. I do know what I don't want. I don't want to settle. All right. And if it never comes, I'm okay with it. Because something that I've learned about being in relationships, before you go into a relationship, you need to be able, they tell you, you say you need to love yourself, you know, before you can love somebody else. Well, you need to be happy with yourself being alone before you can bring somebody else into the picture. And if somebody else wants to come into the picture and add to that, great. You know, if you have to compromise a little bit and give up playing video games or playing poker, that's fine. But don't let her change you. Stay who you are. If she adds to your happiness, do it. But don't give up your happiness.
Compromises are natural in a relationship. It's got to be a give and take.
It's a must.
But you can't compromise your identity as a person, who you are.
Correct.
You know, you could maybe find ways to improve yourself, become a better person, but you want to be with somebody who likes you who wants to be with you for you.
Correct.
You don't want to be with somebody who's going to jump into a relationship and automatically want to start changing you.
Correct.
That's a red flag, I think.
It happened to me in my last long-term relationship. Dated this girl. I liked her a lot. The Liv Tyler look. Beautiful, beautiful girl. It's like, all right. I liked her personality. She was ambitious. She had a lot of great things going for her, but she wanted to change me. She wanted to change what I was going to school for. She wanted to change where I lived. She's like, oh, you're going to hang out with that person from work? Oh my God, really? So and I'm like, man, I like her. She has a lot of other great things. All right, okay, I'll compromise, you know. But compromising, like, she wouldn't let me go play poker. She wouldn't let me play video games. And it's not like I spent hours playing video games, but my friends jump online and they play and they text me. They're like, yo, we're jumping on. We need a fourth. Come on, you know, let's play. And I'm like, all right, cool. That's my way to bond. We live a busy life. You know, we work every day and we have a lot of responsibility. And it's kind of hard to meet up with your boys. And, you know, so that's how we bond. And she took that all away from me, and I was okay with it because I was happy with her, and and I was happy with the family life that we had with me and her family. Like, we got along great, and just things didn't work out at the end. And then I went back to doing the things that I normally did, and I was happier. I was like, man, why did I give this up? You know, why did I give up playing poker? Why did I give up playing video games? Why did I give up playing basketball for 3 hours, 4 hours? Like, why did I give it up? That makes me happy, you know? So I said to myself, you know what? The next girl's not going to change me. She's going to add to my happiness. Yeah, I'm not going to play video games for 2 hours. Maybe I'll play for 1 hour. I won't go play poker every week, once a week. I'll go once every 2 or 3 weeks. That's fine. That's compromise, you know? So
I think that's smart. I think a lot of people, I know when you first get into a relationship, it's natural for, you know, you want to spend time with a person. So you don't do all the same things you used to do. You don't hang out with your boys all the time. You know, then you hear, oh, bro, what the fuck happened? Where you been? You don't come around anymore. And it's a natural part of finding someone that you care about, that you want to spend time with. And especially once you get married, now it's like you know, it's not a game anymore. Like, you've made a commitment. You made a legit commitment in your life. So your priorities will change if that's what you want.
correct.
You know, like, if that's something you want to do, you'll find time for it.
Absolutely.
Like, the scales will balance themselves out eventually.
Correct.
Like, there's going to be some kind of reckoning where...
Right. You're going to replace the happiness that you get from playing poker or video games with the happiness of raising your kid and, you know, having cute moments with your kids and, you know, watching them take their first step and, you know, yes. So I agree with you. going back to your initial question. So what's my end game? So obviously the one hasn't come around, right?
Would you like to get married someday?
Yeah. I actually wanted to get married when I was 21. Not to a girl in specific, because I saw my parents getting married at 18 and 19. So it was, it's what we see. What we see growing up is what we want for our lives, right?
Yeah, we subconsciously think that's what we're supposed to do because that's what we know.
Correct. So I love kids. I work with kids now, and I love kids. And yeah, I do want to be the husband with the house and the white picket fence, mowing the lawn, having the little kids party, pool party. Yeah, I want to be that person. I really do. And I'm looking forward to that. But going back to what I said, I'm not going to do it with the wrong person, because yeah, I might have all those moments and those parties, but if you're going to be unhappy because there's no chemistry, you don't bounce off each other, your personalities conflict. It's not about, it's not about the material things or the events that you guys go to and the things you do. No, it's about the person, the connection that you have with the person. This is the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with. You're going to create a baby with. So that's the most important thing. The other person, you got to be on the same page, because you're going to bring up that kid together. You're going to go through good times and hard times together, and you're going to have to be able to connect and, not separate, not detach when you're going through those hard times. So yes, the other person is very important. Yes, I want to be a dad and I want to get married, but I'm not going to let that pressure me into, all right, the next girl that walks in, that's pretty decent, looks decent, all right, let's go. No, it doesn't work that way. So going back to your initial question, what's my end game? Waiting for the one, and
the right one.
And people say, oh, the one doesn't exist, and I agree with you, the one doesn't exist.
Nobody's perfect. You're never going to find the perfect person in the literal sense of the word.
So in the meantime, so the question is, in the meantime, what's your mindset, right? Okay, you're 36, you're not married, the one hasn't shown up, you're getting older. What's the mindset? The mindset is to better yourself. Better yourself with an education, better yourself, go back to school. You have plenty of time, go back to school, take care of yourself physically, go to the gym, eat healthier, better yourself, and just do things for longevity, for long term. So, you're more appealing to the one when she comes by, when she comes into your life, you're prepared. She's like, wow, all right, you got your master's degree. Wow, you take care of yourself. You look good for being your age, so because this happens a lot. Guys, my age or even a little bit younger, 35, 34, they start to panic and worry. What do I do? Oh my God. And, they go out drinking and they get drunk to forget about things. No, man, that's not the way to just better yourself.
Well, that's around the age where some guys hit the bridge. So the theory, this is kind of one of my own theories here, but the theory of the bridge is that, for certain guys, if you haven't been in serious relationships, ever been married, or even if you've been married and divorced or engaged, those all count. Around the age of 35, if you've been on your own or without any of those serious relationships yet, you kind of reach a point, a threshold, where once you go over it, it's like you're too set in your ways, and it becomes too hard to really make it work with another person. Now, it's not that's not a hard number there, a hard deadline. Yeah. But that is there's a point in a lot of men's lives where they reach that, and it's it's a tricky thing to find, because if you get comfortable on your own, sometimes you can get too comfortable on your own.
I agree. I've met girls that have been single for years, and they become very comfortable, and they're like, look, I don't want anything serious. I'm used to, coming and going as I please. I don't have to report to anybody, and then they get comfortable, and, they just want a guy to hang out with that doesn't pressure her, that doesn't have to call her. She doesn't have to call every day, and he doesn't call her every day. Whenever she wants to go out and, and watch a movie, have dinner, hey, what are you doing? Let's go have sushi. All right, cool, and yes, it happens to men and women. I've been through that stage where I've been comfortable and I've pushed them off, oh, this is too much work. But, it's eventually you're going to have to put in the work. You have to compromise. Like anything in life, you have to give up things. You have to let people into your life.
It's anything worth having won't come easy.
Correct. And how are you going to find the one when you have this wall up and you're comfortable, right?
100%.
If your end game is I want to find the one, and you're super comfortable in your castle, and you don't want to let anybody in because you don't want them to tell you what to do, and how are you, not everybody's like that, first of all. And the second point.
Hang on, elaborate on that point, because you were really onto something right there. How are you going to find someone if you're not putting yourself out there? If you have all these walls up, how is anybody going to get in? I think I think that's a legit question. A lot of people need to really stop and think about.
Right. So you need to let people in, right? Fine. You don't want to get them to the point of like, oh, I have to call them every day. Just set the tone, but let them in. Get to know them, and then let that calling every day not be a chore and be an excitement. Like, man, I want to call this guy every day, or
Yeah,
I
you
want to
wanna
call
look
this girl every
forward to
day.
it.
How exciting. It's not like I have to. There was this one girl I was talking to, and I felt like I had to call her every day. She would call me when she would get out of school. She would call me when she would get out of work. And I'm like, it feels forced, right? It feels forced. And it didn't work out. It didn't work out because she was forcing it, and I felt forced to pick up, and I felt forced to call her when I got out of work. And that's just bullshit. So you let him in. But, don't pressure yourself into calling them every day. Just let them in and just give them a try. Get a feel for them. You know what I mean? There's nothing written that says you have to call them every day. There's nothing written that says that, you have to text them goodnight every night. There's nothing written. Like,
it could be anything. You want to talk like every 3 days, or you could talk 6 times a day. Whatever works for your unique situation.
You
Because
want
everybody's
a girl,
different.
You want a girl to call you because she wants to call you, not because she's your girlfriend.
Yeah, not
she has
because
a
she
title.
feels like she's, like it's her duty as a girlfriend.
For a long time, I dated girls, and we transitioned to boyfriend and girlfriend without a title. I'm like, look, I don't want a title. And not because I want to see other people, more like I don't want the added pressure of, oh, we're boyfriend and girlfriend now, and we're supposed to do this, and we're supposed to do that. So going back to what you said, yes, people get comfortable at a certain age or being single for so many years. They put up a wall. They don't let anybody in because they're free and they enjoy their freedom. And that's fine. But get to know people. Just let them in. Like going back to what we said, how are you going to find the one if you don't get to know people?
Yeah.
And the one's hidden. Like a lot of people find the one. It's like, man, you came out of nowhere. Like you were there all along and I didn't know you were there. Like you're incredible.
Definitely. Yeah, sometimes they could have been there the whole time and you just didn't even realize it. And then one day you see them do something and you're like, whoa, holy shit.
Yeah.
Wait, she's a candidate? Like, oh my God. Like, you've been here.
Yeah.
Nah, but that could happen.
Huh.
All right, so let me ask you this. This is something I really wanted to talk about, and I haven't got a chance to talk about it on the podcast at all yet.
All right.
Breakups. Because breakups can really reveal someone's character. And they could build character. They could change you in fundamental ways. So, I mean, I've been through a lot of, maybe shorter relationships. I've gotten to know people and then realize, okay, you're not the right person.
Right.
You get to learn things that you don't like, and you could take something positive from those relationships.
Right.
But sometimes you're in a relationship and you think, okay, this is something I like. I want to keep going with this. But then the other person feels differently.
Right.
And now you find yourself as the one, like, you just got the wind knocked out of you.
Right.
What advice do you have for guys who are trying to get back up on their feet after a rough breakup? Because if you really care about something, that like it really fucks you up. Like people have to go through like a grieving process. Like I just spoke to my father about, like when you go through those things, you have to go through it. Otherwise, you're never going to come out on the other side of it.
Right. All right. So the times that I've broken up with my girlfriends, I've thought about it well, and I've thought about it for months, weeks. Thought about the pros and cons. So me breaking up, I mentally prepared myself, thought about it, and I did it, right? I don't like drama. I don't like issues.
So that's when you're ending it.
Me ending it. And then I'll go back to her ending it with me. So I don't like drama. I don't like issues, very calmly. Hey, whatever. Whether it's we're not compatible or whether I found out you were talking to your ex-boyfriend and I broke up with her, I like to end it peaceful. I don't like drama. I don't like confrontation. I don't like that at the end. I know it's over. What's the point of me yelling at you and you yelling at me if I'm never going to see you again? You're not going to be in my life again. I've decided that you're never going to be in my life. So just my advice to guys that break up with girls, with women, is, don't yell at them. Even if you caught them cheating on you, talking to their ex-boyfriend, it's done. Like, move on. You're not going to get what, they might call the cops on you. They might say you hit them.
Yeah, there's no good that can come of it.
Yeah, it's like, just move on. Let them say whatever they want, and just walk away. If you have to do it in a public place, do it in a public place. Obviously, not too noisy. But isolated area, privacy.
Yeah, you don't want to be like screaming at a club. I don't want to be with you anymore.
So Yeah, so just go peacefully. That's my biggest advice, and it's gonna sting because she might have been a great girl and she really hurt you, and but just know, man, like you have to get back on your feet because if she cheated on you and she didn't respect you or she treated you bad or she wasn't compatible, she wasn't the one for you, and you don't want to settle for a girl that's gonna do something that you can't reverse. That's the point of no return. There's certain things that people do in relationships that you hit that point of no return, like when you hit a woman. I've never hit a woman, man. Like that's like my biggest thing. No yell or hit at a woman. When you hit a woman, like that's a point of no return. When you disrespect them, like dirty, like low blows, that's a point of no return. Like you have to realize if she took you to the point of no return or you took her to the point of no return, man, just move on. She wasn't for you or you weren't for her. Move on. All right. So going to the girls breaking up with you, rejection.
Say you got dumped.
I got dumped.
I've been through this a lot in my life.
Let me tell you, I've been through it too. Let me tell you, I've been rejected more than I've been successful.
Me too.
It's like these entrepreneurs or these motivational speakers. You got to fall a whole bunch of times to be successful once, right? So
that's some real shit right there.
Yeah,
real talk.
And it's normal to fail. It's normal to get rejected. What do? You learn from the experience. What does she point out? Is it a common thing that I've had in previous relationships? Oh shit, I gotta fix this. It's a downfall of mine. Next girl I meet, going back to what I said, hey, let me reveal like this flaw that I'm working on. Let her know so it doesn't catch her off guard, and let her decide right away whether she wants to move on with me. So learn from what they tell you.
So exactly about that. This works for both. If you're breaking up and if you're breaking up with somebody, you want to be honest about the reason for it. You don't want to beat around the bush. Oh no, it's not you, it's me. Don't do that bullshit because you're doing the other person a disservice. If they did something that was a deal breaker for you, be honest about it. Even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's awkward, tell them. Because one day you might be on the other end of that, and somebody's breaking up with you, and you have no idea what you did wrong.
Correct.
So now you don't know. You can make you. If you actually think about it, you could lead to you second guessing everything you're doing in another relationship.
Correct.
That's something I've gone through in my life.
Correct.
Where I have a couple breakups in a row, and they all say the same thing. It's, no, you're a good guy. Just it wasn't right. Well, clearly the only common denominator is me.
Right.
But I don't know what it is.
Correct.
So
what you're talking about is closure. You want closure. If, like you said, if somebody breaks up with you want the closure. You want to learn why. It's not like just tell me what I did wrong. It's not like I'm gonna tell you, okay, I'm gonna fix it. Oh, let's get back together. No, like, hey, I understand that we're moving on. Just tell me what I did wrong so I can learn from my experience. I want to be a better man. I want to be a better boyfriend. So closure is very important. I agree with that. So going back to what you said, the guy's breaking up with the girl. No, the girl breaks up with the guy.
Rejection.
You get rejected. She gives you closure. And she says, no, because I hear this a lot. I want a guy that's more ambitious, right?
Okay.
Like my guy friends tell, she says I'm not ambitious enough. I'm not going to school. She's going and she's in dental school and I'm not, and I'm working this job, whatever. Learn from that. Like, okay, either select girls that are not going to judge you based on what you love to do, your profession, or
don't worry, this is all good. We can cut that out. But yeah, you want. All right, you don't want somebody who's going to judge you based off your profession,
right? So your selection. Okay, so either you select a girl that's not going to judge you for your profession and what you love to do, and you're okay with it.
Or find somebody who's less ambitious, who doesn't care.
No,
I'm joking.
Or maybe look in the mirror and say, "Shit, maybe she's right.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to step it up. Maybe this is not the ideal person that somebody wants to buy a house with and raise a family with, and this type of profession.
What is it about me that made her not want to be with me?
Right? Maybe you're no offense to bouncers. Maybe you're a bouncer at a strip club. You know what I mean? So it's like, come on, a girl that's going to pharmacy school and she's like with a bouncer. She's like, dude, like, can you go back to school? Like, you're very smart. You have potential. Like, I know it's easy money and it's fun, but
clearly I liked you enough to get involved in this relationship. But, this is not something I could see going long term.
Right.
I think that right there is self-awareness. That's something that a lot of people really need to be more aware of. I think it's not as common as you would hope, because if people were just a little more self-aware, they actually took the time to just stop and take a hard look inside and be honest.
Right.
I think that could that helps with a lot of
We're
ego issues and
Right.
stuff like that. Like, put your ego down. Just
We're not perfect. Doesn't matter whether
no,
you're
you're
driving.
right. Nobody's perfect.
So you got to look in the mirror. So you're not perfect. So when a girl rejects you, you got to look in the mirror and you're like, shit, where did I fuck up? What can I do better? Was it the way I treated her? Was it what I'm doing with my life? Was it something? You have to look in the mirror. You have to analyze. So yes. So when a girl rejects you, don't worry. She wasn't the one. Whether she was unjust or just, she wasn't the one.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to force a girl to be with you. Right? Like you don't.
That's a big one. You don't want to force someone to be with you. You don't want to have to beg them to be with you.
Correct.
That's a bad look right off the bat.
It's not going to last. You get
Yeah.
into a marriage, it's not going to last because you're forcing them. You want them to gravitate towards you. You want them to easily come to you. You just let things fall into place. So for any guy that's gotten rejected, and just take your closure, learn from it, look in the mirror, see whether you got to adjust. Or look at your selection. See, maybe you're picking the wrong girls.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you're so fixated on the physical and not paying attention to the personality and how they are. And, maybe you're making the mistake in your choice. Or maybe you're the mistake. So, just analyze the situation.
Well, that's true. Yeah, take a step back and look. Maybe there's a pattern to the people that you're interested in. Maybe they all share the one same trait in common that is not compatible with you.
Correct.
But for whatever reason, you might be attracted to that kind of person. That happens all the time.
Yeah. Maybe the girl, and there's situations, maybe the girl is just like, she doesn't know what she wants and she's confused and she thought she wanted you and she didn't, and her ex-boyfriend came back to the picture. Some girls have broken up with me because their ex-boyfriend came back into the picture.
Yeah, it happens.
And they don't tell you because they feel bad. They feel like jerks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So don't take it personal. For any guy that gets dumped, don't take it personal. You don't know what's going on the other end. Maybe the girl has issues that you can't see. She doesn't want to reveal. She's embarrassed. Maybe she went back with her ex-boyfriend, her high school sweetheart, and like you see how much, you see their history, how much love they had for each other. You got to understand.
It's hard to compete with history.
Yeah. So don't be hard on yourself, but do look in the mirror, analyze your situation, analyze your choice, analyze yourself. What can you do better next time? How can I better myself? How can I prevent this from happening? And don't be bummed out. Like, everybody is special. Everybody has something great to offer, And going back to the beginning of our conversation, it's like, know that you're special. If they want to see what's special about you, great. If they want to look the other way, you can't force them to look inside you to find that special thing you have to offer. And I truly believe there's something special in everybody, something unique. I really do. And it's not physical, and it's not, game and the talk, and yeah, all that plays a role, role playing, the whole mental thing that I talked about, the guy in the porn shop, when it comes to intimacy and connecting with your girl. But there's something special about everybody. And if a girl chooses not to look at you for the special you or the special things that you have, then you know what, man? She's not the one. She's not the one.
Bro, couldn't have said it better myself. I think it's a good place to put a pin in it. So, listen, I'm really happy that we did this.
I'm happy to be here, man.
Hey, man,
pleasure.
This went well.
Really
I
appreciate it.
Oh, sorry, I don't want to knock this whole shit over. So, for the listeners out there, you know where to find us. APodAmongstMen@gmail.com. APodAmongstMen on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all that good shit. DM us, email us with any questions, any suggestions. We'll be happy to hear from you. As always, this podcast is available on all platforms. iTunes, Apple Podcasts. We just had a little issue with that. Apple Podcasts for anybody who's new to iPhones. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, YouTube, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, all that good shit. Aside from that, you have anything else you want to say before we head out?
Man, I want to just have fun when you guys grow up. Be yourself. Enjoy the relationships. Just don't be too hard on yourselves. Don't be too uptight. At the end of the day, man, it's like you might not be with this person, 5, 10, 15 years from now. And you're going to go to the grave alone. Like, I've known people, my, grandparents, one passed away, and then the other one passed away 10, 15 years later. Like, you're going to go to the grave alone. Be happy with yourself. Yeah. And I'll tell you one thing. Gary Vaynerchuk says this a lot. Go to a nursing home and talk to the people that are dying on their deathbed. And what's the regret that they have? It's like not doing everything they wanted to do, right? And that's not being yourself, not doing everything what you wanted to do. A lot of people get swayed by people's perception or opinions and the general population, what they think and what you should do. Bro, do you. Just do you, and who gives a fuck about what people say? Because one day you're gonna die, you're gonna say, fuck, man, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have gone up to that girl. I wish I would have been honest to this girl. I wish I would have cheated on this girl. Like, man, just,
I wish I would have gone out with Susie instead of listening to, Joe Hot Dog over here told me it was a bad idea.
Yeah.
Just do it. Take a chance. Columbus did.
Follow your heart, man. Just do what your heart tells you.
Amen to that.
All right,
All right,
guys.
people. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Later.